So aging is something that I like to talk about frequently. It's one of the more unpleasant realities that we have to face as human beings in the world. And we've built up a great deal of social and political elements around that, dealing with how one handles aging to all of the costs and associated changes of medical and social and temporal elements that play into getting older and more wise, certainly, but unfortunately also more limited in certain capabilities. And that is something, of course, we want to push back against and continue to work against. Of course, I love to talk about all of the ways that we need to work to limit and end aging, to work on regenerative medicine, to continue to find ways to rebuild the human being and make them more robust and resilient, and continue to live happy and healthy lives beyond the current limits of what has been granted entirely by the effects of evolutionary reality. And there are plenty of reasons to believe that this may be possible in the near future with the developments in technology that we have going on, all of the new and amazing solutions that we're finding, and the ways that we're finally being able to engineer biology in ways that have been completely impossible before. I mean, ultimately, getting a handle on aging is an engineering problem. If you understand enough about the extremely complex and difficult parts of the body, then it becomes a matter simply of doing the right things to them in order to make them functional in different ways again. We've been doing the same kind of tinkering for time immemorial. This is basically what medicine is, tinkering in different ways to try and solve the different problems that come up when the machinery of the body is not working for one reason or another. For a long time, we really didn't know much about it, and so the tinkering was less than ideal and often less than effective. In fact, it may well be doing more damage than good. But we've gotten much better, and we're seeing much improved outcomes in the modern era using the processes and skills medicine that have come from much effort and time. There are far fewer cases of people getting away with as much of the snake oil sales as they used to. And that's one of the things that I think is slowing some of the acceptance of this. They've had so many years and so much time where we've had to deal with all of the people who would promise amazing results, but in fact they had nothing of the sort to back it. And desperate people who were suffering from one ailment or another would jump on board and expend large sums of money on their quackery in the vain hope of getting somewhere. But what we can demonstrate now and show in the lab and with papers and everything suggests that we're far beyond just that. Not that it doesn't exist or that people aren't going to continue to mess with it. There are definitely some cases even now where we're seeing people trying to take advantage in that way. But it seems like we're going to get there. There are definitely plenty of credible directions and people talking about it, working on it. Some of our brightest minds out there currently engaged in solving the issue of human aging. And that is something that might be worth delving into a little more. Some of the specifics on some of these people and their projects I think are quite fascinating and definitely worth a talk sometime. That will probably be something to come back around to. But I think what I really want to jump on first is something a little more unusual, a little less discussed even among the circles of people who work in this particular field. What happens socially when we do this? If we actually manage to get people to live to say, the age of 150, which is a popular goal, what does that do to our economy? What does that do to our education system? How does that change things? How much of it is improvement? And are there any serious drawbacks we should keep an eye on? Certainly nothing is perfect, and so we should consider those as well. It's something that is surprisingly lacking in a lot of science fiction. There are cases when it's dealt with, but not nearly as deeply as one might expect. Even once we get to the transhumanist stuff, it just doesn't get attacked or, well, approached as much as it probably ought to. So it's something you'll want to consider during these videos to varying degrees. And yeah, I think that's kind of what we're working on today. I will come up with a few thoughts on that, and we will see you next time.